Hi everybody and welcome. So this is the today we're doing a walkthrough of how you start putting a business model canvas together for a new business. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to pretend that I'm an AI company and I'm putting together some sort of new AI product. Obviously I'm not going to tell you all the secrets, but it should give you a really good start getting off into the right direction. So a lot of the time people start off with copying a competitor's business model, and whilst that can work, well, let's say that everybody does it, so that you end up with having a slightly different product to somebody else, because inevitably there are dozens of people coming into the market with the same kind of product that you have. Even if you're a market leader, even if you're first to market, there are going to be dozens, if not hundreds, of fast seconds, fast followers trying to get that market share off you. So very much what the core belief here is that the business model itself gives you some competitive advantage. Rather than doing a plug and play, an Uber for this, an Airbnb for this, a DeepMind for this, a Watson for that, spend some time thinking about the business model canvas and taking it from there. I'm going to make this up as I go along, and as much as anything I'm going to use it to illustrate ideas, to make it an interactive, well, not so much interactive because I'm recording and you're listening and we're not on the same, but you get the idea. Make it a little bit more interactive. So I always like using these process blocks because it keeps everything a little bit more focused, and maybe it's because I was an engineer in a previous life. So where should we start with this this AI company? Let's say that we are targeting probably some sort of business need. What happened there? Didn't expect that to happen. We're targeting some sort of business need in a corporate. So the first thing that people will do is we'll say we're targeting a corporate. It's like, wow, okay, that's a big messy place to play in. Lots of different types of corporate. What is it? 50, 100, 1,000 trillion dollars worth of corporate money around there. We need to narrow it down. So we're targeting automotive corporates, and we're doing something in that area. But even beyond that, we really want to start thinking who are we going to be doing. We're targeting IT managers in the data science and in data science and marketing. This gives us a clear picture of who we're actually targeting within that, and I'm just putting those arrows there because I feel like it. I don't usually do it, but it's just showing the linkage there. So they've obviously got a problem, and I'm not going to try and bullshit you and come up with problems off the top of my head. So we're just going to put a problem A. And now this bottom part of the value proposition box is where I often use put problems in, because it just helps keep in mind, and it's one of the really nice things about the lean canvas. Actually having the problems brings it back, and we can do that. So we're going to come up, so we're thinking they've got a problem, they don't understand something, there isn't the right information out there. So we're coming up with a value proposition, and let's say data mining software. Boom. Right, so immediately we've got a very feature orientated data mining software that is going to be helping these guys in the data science and marketing department, but we haven't got real value there. We've got a feature. So what's the real value that we're looking at? I've got no idea here, but we will say something along the ways of that it will increase customer engagement in most lucrative segments, which isn't unreasonable. We're diving down into the data of this particular automotive thing. Who are the people who they make the most money? Who are the people, for example, who always buy the cars with every upgrade? The top of the line engine, the leather upholstery, the best radio. Who are the people who do that? And what can we find out about them? And that's what this software is doing. So we've got a little bit of value there. So where should we go next? So this is the sort of thing that do we want to do it as a subscription? Do we want to do it as a project for new cars? It's probably going to be easiest as a subscription, because the time to set up new data feeds. So obviously we've got set up data linkage and process data. So those are things that we will have to do, and obviously sort of we'll probably have the cloud management of the data. We'll have the security. This is stuff that we'll outsource rather than trying to do ourselves. Okay, and if you can see what I'm doing here at the moment, it's just fairly lightweight. I'm sort of putting things together. I'm pulling it apart on a sort of fairly logical thing. I'm not doing key activities all at once or customer segments all at once, because that sort of keeps you very narrow. Because what we see, if I do this, is we'll often see linkages between the different things, the different components, because we got this problem A, it's persistent, so they're needing that, which generates a subscription, which is persistently helping to do that, because if they didn't, their revenue would be going like that. They'd be having good cars, bad cars. So by consistently mapping it out as we see it, we've also got more ability to start manipulating it as we play with the canvas. We're obviously going to need to be selling, so it's a big B2B sort of enterprise sales, in white paper, marketing, boom. So that means there's probably web and major account sales, which probably means that we've got other segments floating around here. So we got the champions, champions, sorry about that. We got champions, we got influencers, and when you're looking in a big corporate environment, it's often useful to have these as different segments. In some ways, this is pushing the Osterwalder approach a little bit, and taking the canvas somewhere where he didn't expect it to be. But one of the things I've learned is that the canvas is best as a living, active tool to help you get shit done, not as a nice piece of paper, an exercise you do in an afternoon, and then you slide it away into something else. And I get a lot of salespeople talking to me, what's the business model canvas for this? And then they helping to use it to map out the sales process. Okay, that was a little bit of a aside. So we're mapping out the customer segments there. Oops, just missed out an O there. That's a bit rude otherwise. And then what are the customer relationships going to be like? because it's automotive sales and we're going to be increasing car sales. If we increase a car sale by 1%, that's probably 20-30 million in the bag. So this is going to be important to them, and therefore we're going to be a high ticket price as well. So the customer relationship is probably going to be consultative and high engagement as required. Yeah. You can go totally different ways. That's just the way I'm feeling at the moment. But because there's an awful lot of money playing around here, let's make sure that we're heading in the right sort of direction there to basically keep that money flowing in, because that is that's our risk management strategy. Okay, so how are we going to do this? So we've got to have our algorithms. We're not going to be able to sell this for very long unless we've got some deeper source of deeper insights. So we're going to be having to do the R&D going in, and we're probably going to have at least some data scientists. Do we put the platform in here? I don't know, because broadly speaking, okay, I'm not a data scientist, but you could bring in something like Tableau, Power BI to provide the visualizations here, and why develop those when somebody else is already doing it? So your the analytics that you're doing are feeding into that, and that may be already on the system. So then our cost structure is visualization software and staff costs. So super high. So this is, so we're now seeing it's starting to come together a little bit, and this is reasonable for a first draft. It's pretty vanilla. It's not desperately exciting as a business model. So what are the next steps? Now I'm not going to do the next steps here. Simply, whoopsie. Well, I created this template, so it's going to be a 5-star. So with this, I think the important thing is now to start thinking, okay, so I've come up with a business model canvas like this, and let me just put the colors on. I've come up with a business model canvas like this, but it is all fairly vanilla. There's nothing particularly unusual about this. We're doing a high ticket SaaS piece of software. So pretty much most of the other competitors in the place will be doing something that different, similar. They may play with the revenue streams. They might have a slightly different customer segment. They may have a slightly value proposition or a problem statement. Is this going to change much? Probably not a great deal. Are the key activities here? Probably not. Those are going to be fairly similar. I think there are probably going to be key choices in the make and buy, whether you decide to do stuff in-house or whether you decide to use other people's software to do things faster and cheaper and better than you can yourself. So how do we bring the business model innovation into this? Well, one of the things that I often look at is looking at where in the industry the competitive plays. Are they playing on the feasibility, how to actually make it happen? Are they playing in the desirability segment? How attractive is it to customers? Or are they playing in the viability segment, where the costs and revenues are coming from? And generally I find that if everyone's playing in the desirability segment, you go over to the feasibility. If everyone's over in feasibility, then you either go here or you go down to here. It's very different approaches. So that basically says where your enemy's strong, don't fight them, because you're into a world of pain as you start playing there. So given that, if everybody, and I think most of the time, from what I see with AI in particular, there's an awful lot of thought about the problems that you're trying to solve, what it's trying to do, but really it is here, playing around with key resources, the algorithms, the data scientist skills to actually be able to extract data, extract knowledge out of this data. So if that's the case, then I think there are more interesting things that you can be doing either down in the channels, in the marketing, and do you really want to end up sort of basically highly paid data scientists doing consulting sales jobs? Possibly not. So how could we simplify it and automate it? Is that a way to go? Alternatively, making a multi-channel sales process, targeting different segments, and then playing with that. So what we've got here then is a rough template that enables us to start thinking about the questions. What I do typically when I get to this point, will it scroll out? No, I have to go back. This goes back to the client, and then we start having a conversation. Let me change color. But around this, we're also thinking, what are the alternatives? Who are the competitors? What are the market forces? What are the threats that are happening at the moment in the market? And we think and we look at each of these in turn. Yeah, and that then gives us a lot more of an idea of what's going on, and that starts the conversations between key people, starting to get them to think differently about, okay, what should this look like? Because I certainly know that if you go to market with something like this, you have not got a particular competitive advantage if you're doing an AI, an ML, a deep learning sort of startup, because your business model is exactly the same as everybody else's, and so you have to entirely play on the strengths of your product or your service design, or the quality of your algorithm, or the quality of your data scientists, and all of those will tend to revert to the mean over time. So I hope that gives you a little bit of a sense of how we start playing around with AI business models, how we start putting them together as the very initial first stage of the canvas. So we've gone for about 20 minutes now. So my name's Denis Oakley. I help AI startups, machine learning startups, and startups of all descriptions, as well as SMEs and larger enterprises, create business models that give them competitive advantage, that help, let me just increase the size there, that help them get competitive advantage and get into more traction, go to market faster and better. And the reason this works is you're thinking more deeply about more possibilities, and you're able to use them to just go straight through the enemy's defenses. So please do, if you've liked this, subscribe, have a look at some of my other videos, or head over to denis-oakley.com to read more about what I do and how I can help you. Speak to you soon.